Okay, can we restore U.S. credibility after Biden's shameful response to this chaos in Afghanistan? Joining us now, the great former U.S. National Security Advisor, Robert O'Brien, the great friend, too. Robert, so I read carefully your piece, in your op-ed piece with John in the Foreign Affairs. Basically, what you're saying is one of the things we have to do is shore up and restore credibility and shore up resources in the Pacific zone. Is that as I read this?
Absolutely, Larry, and we've got to do it quickly. I don't know if you saw the Global Times, which is the Communist Party mouthpiece out in China, came out with an op-ed 2 days ago aimed at the people of Taiwan and specifically Taipei, and they said, hey, this is what's going to happen to you. When we come for you, the Americans aren't going to be there. You're going to have to surrender to us, and this is what your city's going to look like. And they were showing photos of what's happening in Kabul. So a real blow to American credibility, leadership. Our partners are nervous. And so that's why John and I got together and said, like, there'll be plenty of time for a blame game and to talk about what went wrong for the Biden administration. But what we want to do is point out some things that America could do, that the administration could do for our country immediately to start restoring credibility to the United States for our friends and allies and partners.
So, Robert, in the Indo-Pacific theater, as I guess it's called now, look, you mentioned Taiwan, and you mentioned hastening the sales of a lot of military equipment orders, which is a good idea. Go back to that Global Times thing. The Chinese are really saber-rattling right now. They're making fun of us and the disaster in Afghanistan, and they're kind of saying to people, you can't rely on the Americans anymore, but it has a hard edge aimed at Taiwan, doesn't it, Robert?
Absolutely. Taiwan is a geopolitical prize of all of Asia and all of the Pacific. It's kind of the cork in the champagne bottle that keeps the PLA Navy tied up. And if they get Taiwan, they've got open access to the whole Pacific, all the way to Hawaii, all the way to California, where I'm sitting now. And they want it badly, and they're trying to intimidate and use psychological warfare. And these photos coming out of Kabul are really terrible. So what John and I said we should do, the Taiwanese have money, and we don't give them foreign aid. They buy military equipment from the U.S., pay cash on the barrel. They've got a lot of orders in place for Patriot missiles, for F-16 upgrades. We need to deliver those armaments to them immediately. We need to speed it up. We need to work with the defense contractors, put them at the head of the customer list. We need to go into DoD stockpiles where we've got extra. Give that to them now and replenish with what they've bought when their equipment comes due. But we need to send a strong message quickly to the Taiwanese that we're with them, but also to the Chinese that we're not walking away from our alliances and our friends and our partners.
Do you think, this is a hard question and it's not definitive, but do you think China would actually go after Taiwan, sort of Hong Kong style or whatever? Do you think they'd actually do it, Robert O'Brien? Everyone's talking about it.
Well, yeah. Xi says they will. Xi says he's going to, President Xi, or General Secretary Xi says he's going to reunite Taiwan with China, and he's going to do it one way or the other. And I think oftentimes we're a little conceited in the West and in America. We don't listen to these dictators and authoritarians. We don't believe what they say. I think we need to be very careful and listen to what he says. He's running major military operations all the time. They're spending a fortune to build up their military. One of the things that we've said, one of the reasons President Trump wanted to get out of Afghanistan, of course, not in this way, for sure, by any means, but we wanted to pivot back to the Pacific. And we need to take some of these troops, and President Biden has said that as well. We need to take some of these troops that were in Afghanistan, and we need to move them to Guam, to Okinawa, to Robertson Barracks in Australia, to the state of Hawaii, to the state of Alaska, to American territories in the Pacific, and actually show that we mean what we say, that it wasn't just a talking point, but we're actually moving these combat-hardened veterans that have gained all this experience in Afghanistan. We're going to put them in the Pacific and really try and deter the Chinese from miscalculating and taking a step to invade Taiwan that could create a world war that none of us want. So we've got peace through strength works. Your old boss, Ronald Reagan, said that.
Yep.
President Trump said it. They were both absolutely right.
No, it's better to be feared than loved in these games. Right now, that's especially important. Robert, one thing that caught my eye, you mentioned a lot of territories and islands in the Indo-Pacific area, but you also mentioned Antarctica. Antarctica, can you just give us 30 seconds on the Antarctica story?
Sure. So as you know, Larry, and this is something that you worked on as the NEC director, both the Arctic, the North Pole and the South Pole are going to become critical as we've got climate change and shipping lanes open up, minerals, extraction of oil and gas, rare earths in both places. The Chinese have been down in Antarctica violating treaties, not allowing. It's supposed to be demilitarized. It's supposed to be peaceful and research only. The only way we can get down there is with an icebreaker called the Polar Star. We've only got one left, a heavy icebreaker. It has to come all the way from Seattle once a year, travel all the way to Antarctica to break the ice to get to our research station and do the work that needs to be done down there. What we're suggesting is moving that to Hobart in Tasmania or to Sydney. Cut out the travel back and forth. Great place for the Coast Guard families to live. The Australians would burden share and pay for part of that. And let's get some of our assets closer to Antarctica and show the Australians and the New Zealanders and our other allies that we're there as well. We're not going to cede Antarctica to the Chinese, just like we're not going to cede the Arctic to the Russians and the Chinese.
Good.
We got to play in all these places. We've got to deter our great power competitors, Larry.
Robert O'Brien, thank you very much. By the way, I'll just say, I always thought we should have bought Greenland. Anyway, Robert O'Brien, thanks very much.